Subutai, depicted with a weathered, scarred face and a heavy iron helmet adorned with fur, sits motionless atop a muscular warhorse. He stares intensely toward the horizon, his posture rigid and commanding, embodying the apex of Mongol military discipline. He is positioned on a grassy ridge overlooking the vast, fortified city of Kaifeng. In the background, thousands of Mongol yurts and siege engines dot the plains, creating a sea of military might. The lighting is the golden hour of dawn, casting long, dramatic shadows that highlight the texture of his lamellar armor. Captured with a 85mm portrait lens, focusing on his determined eyes against the blurred city walls. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Subutai, now raising a curved saber, commands a legion of heavy cavalry. His expression is fierce, shouting a silent order to the troops. The scene captures the sheer scale of the Mongol army. Rows of armored riders on horses stretch endlessly into the distance, dust kicking up around their hooves. The environment is a dry, arid plain littered with the debris of past conquests. The lighting is harsh midday sun, emphasizing the gleam of metal and the grit of the soldiers. Shot with a wide-angle 24mm lens to show the magnitude of the force. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Zhang Ro, a Chinese general in Mongol service, stands amidst the smoking ruins of a conquered city, looking solemn and calculating. He wears a mix of Mongol furs and Chinese armor plates. He is inspecting the aftermath of a siege. Crumbled stone walls and burning timber frame the background. Ash falls like snow around him. The lighting is low-key, illuminated by the orange glow of dying embers, creating a stark contrast with the cool blue twilight sky. Captured with a 50mm lens, focusing on the texture of the soot on his armor. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Subutai stands on the ground now, flanked by his lieutenants, his arms crossed over his chest, waiting with confident patience. His expression is stoic, expecting a standard surrender or conventional fight. The environment is the forward siege line, with wooden barricades and dirt trenches visible. The massive walls of Kaifeng loom tall and imposing in the middle distance. The lighting is overcast and heavy, suggesting a calm before a storm, with diffuse light softening the scene. Shot with a 35mm lens for a documentary feel. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Subutai is captured in a moment of visceral shock, flinching instinctively, his eyes wide as he looks upward. A massive, blinding fireball erupts in the background near the city walls, shattering the visual calm. Debris and shockwaves distort the air around him. The environment is chaotic. Horses nearby are panicking, and the ground vibrates with dust rising. The lighting is dominated by the intense, overexposed white-hot flash of the explosion, casting deep, sharp shadows away from the blast. Shot with a high shutter speed to freeze the flying earth. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Zhang Ro is knocked to his knees by the sheer acoustic force, clutching his ears, his face twisted in pain and confusion. The shockwave is visible as a distortion in the air, rippling through the tall grass of the plains. In the background, Mongol banners snap violently in the blast wind. The lighting is dramatic, with the explosion's afterglow painting the scene in ominous reds and oranges. Camera angle is low to the ground, emphasizing the earth-shaking power using a 24mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Subutai watches in horror as a group of his elite guards are engulfed by a black and crimson cloud. The focus is on the devastating impact. Silhouettes of warriors are disintegrating into ash and smoke, their forms losing cohesion. The environment is the impact zone, a cratered ruin of scorched earth. The lighting is a mix of dark, choking smoke and flashes of internal fire within the cloud. Shot with a telephoto 100mm lens to compress the distance between the viewer and the destruction. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Subutai struggles to control his terrified warhorse, which rears high on its hind legs, nostrils flared in panic. Subutai's face betrays a rare vulnerability, fear of the unknown. Around him, the disciplined Mongol line has broken. Soldiers are backing away, shields raised against an invisible enemy. The background is filled with drifting smoke and the looming walls of Kaifeng. The lighting is high contrast, with shafts of sunlight piercing the smoke. Shot from a low angle looking up at the rearing horse, adding drama. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Zhang Ro stands amidst the confusion, holding a fragment of a blackened iron casing, staring at it with bewilderment. He realizes this is technology, not magic. The environment is the post-blast chaos, with medics attending to stunned soldiers. The background shows the city walls of Kaifeng still standing defiant. The lighting focuses a spotlight on the iron shard in his hand, leaving the rest in shadow. Close-up shot, 50mm macro, highlighting the jagged metal edges. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Subutai, regaining his composure, stands atop a small hill, looking back at the smoking crater. He is no longer afraid but deeply contemplative, his hand resting on his chin. He is analyzing the threat. The background shows the Mongol camp reorganizing, discipline returning. The lighting is the cool blue of early evening, symbolizing the cold calculation of the Mongol mind. Medium shot, 35mm lens, capturing his thoughtful posture against the vast sky. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Genghis Khan stands tall on a sacred mountain peak, raising a bow to the sky in triumph. He is dressed in traditional furs and leather, looking younger and fierce. A massive gathering of tribal banners flutters below him in the valley. The environment is the rugged Mongolian steppe, vast and green. The lighting is bright and heroic, with the sun framing his silhouette. Low-angle shot, 24mm wide lens, emphasizing his dominance over the land. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Genghis Khan sits on a simple wooden throne in a large camp, studying a map spread out on a table. His expression is visionary and ambitious. Beside him stands Subutai as a young officer. The map shows the vast expanse of Asia. The background is blurred, showing the activity of a mobile army camp. The lighting is soft ambient light filtering through the yurt roof. Medium shot, 50mm lens, focus on the map and Genghis's hand tracing a route. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Genghis Khan leads a charge, but the focus is on the archers behind him. They are in full gallop, releasing arrows with perfect form while their horses are mid-air. The action is dynamic and blurred slightly for speed. The environment is the open steppe. The lighting is dynamic sunlight breaking through storm clouds. Action shot, tracking camera movement, 85mm lens to isolate the archers. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Subutai stands in a shadowed tent, receiving a report from a spy dressed in local Chinese peasant clothing. Subutai listens intently, his eyes narrowing. The environment is dark and secretive. On the table are stolen documents and artifacts. The lighting is high-contrast chiaroscuro, illuminating only the faces and the documents. Close-up, 50mm lens, capturing the intensity of the information exchange. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Genghis Khan stands in a conquered city square, inspecting a captured catapult. He is not destroying it but touching the wood, examining the mechanism with curiosity. Beside him, captured engineers look on nervously. The background shows the blending of Mongol and foreign architecture. The lighting is natural daylight, revealing the textures of wood and iron. Medium shot, 35mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Zhang Ro acts as a bridge, introducing a group of diverse engineers, Chinese, Persian, Syrian, to a Mongol commander. Zhang Ro gestures welcomingly to the engineers who hold blueprints and tools. The environment is a busy military workshop in the field. The lighting is warm and industrious, with sparks flying from a nearby forge. Wide-shot 24mm lens showing the diversity of the group. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Genghis Khan, mounted on his horse, points his sword toward the Great Wall in the distance. He looks determined and hungry for conquest. The Jin fortifications are visible along the mountain ridges in the background. The environment is mountainous and rugged. The lighting is the cold, blue light of early winter, with snow dusting the ground. Wide epic shot, 16mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Subutai, younger era, stands frustrated before a high stone wall of a Jin city. Arrows stick out of the ground around him. He is analyzing the height and strength of the fortifications. The background shows a failed assault with ladders pushed back. The lighting is flat and gray, emphasizing the difficulty of the obstacle. Low-angle shot looking up at the imposing wall from Subutai's perspective. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Zhang Ro directs the construction of a massive traction trebuchet. He holds a scroll of plans, pointing out structural details to Mongol laborers. The machine towers over them, a complex skeleton of timber. The environment is a construction site near a forest. The lighting is dappled sunlight through the trees. Medium shot 35mm lens, focusing on the collaboration. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Ojidi Khan, as a prince, oversees a successful conventional siege. A wooden gate is smashed open by a battering ram. Mongol troops pour in with swords drawn. There is smoke, but it is from wood fires, not explosions. The scene is chaotic but victorious. The lighting is the orange glow of victory fires at dusk. Wide action shot 24mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Ala al-Din Adamalik Javani is shown reading an ancient Taoist text in a library, his face illuminated by a sense of discovery. He visualizes the text's content. The environment is a dim, dust-mote-filled library with shelves of scrolls. The lighting is focused on his face and the scroll. Close-up 50mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Through the imagination of Javani, we see an ancient Taoist alchemist in a robe, mixing powders in a bronze bowl. The alchemist looks serene but unaware of the danger. The environment is a mystical lab filled with herbs and strange vessels. The lighting is soft and ethereal, tinged with green and purple. Medium shot 50mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. The Taoist alchemist is thrown backward as the bowl erupts in a sudden flash of purple and orange flame. Smoke billows instantly, singeing his beard and robes. The lab is illuminated by the sudden flare. Ingredients fly through the air. The lighting is a dramatic split-second flash. Action freeze frame, 35mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Kublai Khan, in a future timeline looking back, observes a festive display of early fireworks at a Chinese court. Colorful sparks shower the night sky. The courtiers are delighted, not afraid. The environment is a lavish palace courtyard. The lighting is colorful and high contrast against the night. Wide shot 24mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Guakan, dressed in Song-style armor before his defection, inspects a workshop where powder is being packed into tubes. He looks serious, recognizing the lethal potential. The room is filled with gray powder dust. The lighting is dim, sourced from lanterns. Medium shot 50mm lens, focus on the black powder. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Zhang Ro watches a demonstration of fire arrows. Archers release arrows with small burning bundles attached. They leave trails of smoke in the air. The targets are straw dummies that ignite upon impact. The environment is a testing range. The lighting is overcast, making the fire trails visible. Side profile tracking shot, 85mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. A Song soldier, viewed by Subutai scouts, holds a bamboo tube attached to a spear. He ignites it, and a jet of flame shoots out violently. The soldier braces against the recoil. The flame distorts the air around the tip. The background is a blurry defensive wall. The lighting highlights the intensity of the flame jet. Close-up action shot, 35mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Guokan holds a heavy, spherical iron bomb in his hands. It is crude, pitted, and black. He examines the small fuse hole. The weight of the object is apparent in his posture. The environment is an armory. The lighting creates a rim light around the round iron sphere, emphasizing its solidity. Close-up 50mm macro lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Ala al-Din Adamalik Javani is reading a scroll depicting the Zhenxianli Eye. As he reads, the background dissolves into a visualization of the bomb exploding in a field, tearing apart trees and earth. The transition blends the parchment with the reality of the explosion. The lighting shifts from warm candlelight to harsh explosive white. Composite shot, 35mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Subutai stands on a riverbank, watching a Mongol ship on the water being blown apart. A massive plume of water and fire erupts from the deck of the ship, with splinters fly everywhere. Subutai looks concerned, witnessing the prelude to the siege. The environment is a river landscape. The lighting is daylight with gray smoke obscuring the sun. Wide shot, 85mm lens compressing the distance. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Subutai and a younger Mongol noble, representing Talyui, ride together inspecting the completed encirclement of Kiong. They point to the elaborate trench systems. The city is completely cut off. The environment is the bustling siege lines with thousands of soldiers. The lighting is high noon, harsh and exposing. Medium wide shot, 35mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Zhang Ro oversees Chinese captives digging a deep trench. The earthworks stretch far into the distance, reinforced with wooden stakes. Watchtowers are being erected. The scale of the engineering is massive. The environment is filled with dust and labor. The lighting is gritty and textured. Wide shot, 24mm lens showing the curvature of the trench line. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Subutai signals the attack with a wave of his sword. Catapults release stones, and archers loose volleys. The Mongol army surges forward with ladders. Their faces show confidence and aggression. The background is the city wall looming closer. The lighting is dramatic with the sun behind the Mongols. Action shot, 50mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. The view is from the base of the wall looking up. Black iron bombs are falling from the battlements like hail. Subutai's soldiers look up in confusion. The fuses are sparking mid-air. The atmosphere is thick with tension just before impact. The lighting is backlit by the sun over the wall. Low angle 24mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. A massive explosion rips through the Mongol front line. Subutai is shielded by his bodyguards, but the blast force is visible. Soldiers are thrown into the air. The flash is blindingly white, washing out colors. Dirt and shrapnel spray outward. The lighting is dominated by the explosion source. Action freeze, 35mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Close up on a piece of Mongol lamellar armor lying on the ground, punctured and smoking. Beside it, ash and scorched earth mark where a soldier stood. Zhang Ro looks at the armor with horror. The metal is twisted. The lighting is somber, highlighting the destruction of the invincible armor. Macro shot, 85mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Subutai fights to keep his horse under control amidst a cacophony of explosions. The horse's eyes are wild. In the background, other horses are stampeding away from the walls. The scene is chaotic and loud. The lighting is strobing from multiple explosions. Medium shot, 50mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Subutai, Zhang Ro, and other commanders crouch in a command tent, looking at a diagram of the bomb. Subutai looks stern but focused, not panicked. He is pointing at the wall's base on a map. They are problem-solving. The environment is the dimly lit tent. The lighting is from a central fire, casting shadows on their faces. Medium shot, 35mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Mongol engineers, directed by Zhang Ro, are constructing large mobile shields made of layers of thick, cured cowhide. The texture of the leather is rough and tough. They are testing it with arrows. The environment is the workshop area. The lighting highlights the texture of the cowhide. Close-up, 50mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. A phalanx of Mongol engineers pushes the cowhide screens toward the city walls. Arrows bounce off the leather. Subutai watches from a distance, observing the effectiveness. The perspective is from behind the screens, looking through a slit at the wall. The lighting is shadowy under the screens. Point of view shot, 35mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Under the protection of the leather, miners pick away at the stone foundation of the Qiang wall. Dust fills the air. They work frantically. Zhang Ro is with them, shouting encouragement. The environment is cramped and dark. The lighting comes from torches stuck in the dirt. Medium shot, 24mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Looking up the vertical wall, a black iron bomb descends slowly on a heavy iron chain. It dangles ominously right above the leather screens. The fuse is burning short. The texture of the wall and the rusty chain are detailed. The lighting is daylight from above, casting a shadow of the bomb onto the screens below. Low angle, 50mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. The view is from a distance as a massive explosion erupts at the base of the wall. The leather screens are blown to shreds, flying into the air. Subutai watches grimly, his face illuminated by the blast. The strategy has failed. The environment is filled with smoke and debris. The lighting is the orange flash against the gray stone. Wide shot, 85mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. A group of Mongol soldiers hesitates to advance. Their faces show terror. Subutai steps forward, his presence commanding, forcing them back into line with a glare. He points toward the smoke. The psychological weight is heavy. The lighting is moody and dark. Medium shot, 50mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. On the ramparts, Jin soldiers thrust fire lances downward. Jets of liquid fire spray onto the Mongol ladders. A Mongol soldier shields his face from the heat. The flames are bright and intense. The environment is the chaotic wall battle. The lighting is dominated by the yellow and red fire. Close-up action, 35mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Subutai and Zhang Ro stand together at twilight, looking at the city. The fighting has paused. They look exhausted but respectful of the enemy's power. Smoke rises from the city. The atmosphere is heavy with the realization of a new era of war. The lighting is the blue hour. Medium shot, 50mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. The gates of Qiang finally open. Emaciated Jin defenders walk out to surrender. Subutai sits on his horse, watching them. There is no triumph in his eyes, only cold satisfaction. The city behind them is silent. The lighting is flat and gray, symbolizing the grim reality of the siege. Wide-shot 24mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Genghis Khan sits on his throne, holding a captured fire lance. He looks at it with intrigue, not disgust. Subutai stands before him, advocating for its use. The court listens intently. The environment is the Great Khan's court. The lighting is warm and golden. Medium shot 50mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Zhang Ro interrogates a captured Jin engineer. The engineer is showing him a formula for gunpowder. Zhang Ro looks satisfied. Sketches of bombs are on the table. The environment is a military tent. The lighting is focused on the table. Close-up 35mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Mongol soldiers are loading their own catapults with the spherical iron bombs. They handle them with care and newfound expertise. Subutai watches the loading process. The background shows the next target city. The lighting is bright morning sun. Medium shot 50mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Kublai Khan stands on a ship deck, looking toward the lush green landscapes of southern China. He looks regal and determined. Behind him, Genghis Khan commands a unit of mixed infantry. The environment is the Yangtze River region. The lighting is humid and misty. Wide shot, 35mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Kublai Khan observes the twin cities of Xiangyang and Fanqing. Explosions dot the walls. The siege lines are permanent cities themselves. The scale is immense. Kublai looks patient. The environment is a wet, river-filled landscape. The lighting is overcast with rain. Wide epic shot, 24mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Nasir al-Din al-Tusi, the Persian scholar and engineer, stands next to a gigantic counterweight trebuchet, the Hui Hui Pao. He is directing the loading of a massive stone. The machine is far larger than previous ones. Kublai Khan watches with approval. The environment is the muddy siege ground. The lighting highlights the wet wood of the machine. Low angle 24mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Genghis Khan leads a charge that combines Mongol horse archers with infantry carrying fire lances. The scene shows the integration of tactics. Smoke and arrows fill the air. The action is coordinated. The lighting is dynamic battle lighting. Action shot 50mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. A Mongol soldier on a beach in Japan throws a ceramic bomb. It explodes near a samurai warrior who looks shocked. The famous scene from the scrolls is recreated in realistic detail. The environment is a sandy beach with pine trees. The lighting is coastal gray. Action shot, 35mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Nasir al-Din al-Tusi is in a library in Baghdad, showing a diagram of a rocket to an Arab scholar. They are discussing the Chinese snow, saltpeter. The environment is a sophisticated observatory/library. The lighting is warm and intellectual. Medium shot 50mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Subutai watches as a Mongol standard-bearer shakes a banner that releases a foul-smelling yellow cloud toward Polish knights. The knights are coughing and disoriented. The environment is a European green field. The lighting is eerie, filtered through the gas. Medium shot 50mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. Ala al-Din Adamalik Javani writes the final chapter of his history. As he writes, The smoke from his candle morphs into the shape of a modern cannon. He looks thoughtful, pondering the future. The environment is his study. The lighting is focused on the transition of smoke. Close-up 50mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography. A final composite image, Genghis Khan, Subutai, and Kublai Khan stand together in a spectral line, fading into a modern digital background representing AI and future tech. They look directly at the viewer, challenging them to adapt. The lighting shifts from ancient torchlight to cold blue neon. Portrait shot, 85mm lens. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.